Big up, big up, big up. Welcome, 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 one and all, to Liverpool 12 Man Show. Thank you for those that were patient to wait for me to get done my appearance on Coppish, which was well appreciated. So shout out to the boys at Coppish, to the lads, proper lads, all the same. Matt, Shrifty, obviously Cal, who sent me the link. Shout out to him as well. Always trying to uplift and help a brother out, and I appreciate it. And shout out to those that are joining us today, because tonight we are going to have a little bit of conversation. It's going to be interesting. I wonder if some of our Manchester City trolls out there are going to join us for this episode. I seriously doubt it. But all the same, we're going to talk about some things, because there was a report that came out today that pretty much didn't say it's that the verdict's in and this is what it is, but they were hinting at the fact that this could most likely be the verdict for the Manchester City citizens. It is something that, obviously they're innocent until proven guilty, but we're going to talk about the impact of a ruling, or of a possible ruling, one way or the other, whether it's innocent or guilty. We're not gonna talk about, obviously, another day for transfer rumors, another day for tactics, another day for maybe referee decisions or something like that. Tonight we're gonna talk about what has been deemed as being the 115, but truly is the 130, because we all know that there's 115 charges initially. Premier League added 15 charges on top of that to make it 130 charges. 9 years of alleged breaches. Let me repeat that. 9 years of alleged breaches. 500,000 pieces of evidence. 500,000 pieces of evidence. And then a verdict that has been kicked down the lane for over a year. This is not tribal. This is structural. Let me talk about these things rationally. This concerns Manchester City, and Manchester City alone, the Premier League, and potentially the integrity of an entire era and an entire league. So let's calmly break this down. I brought one of my best friends in the world here, Lee. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm pleased that there's a little bit of, it's not much news like on City, but it's a bit of news which is welcome. Do you know what I mean? It's something, isn't it? It's something to be going on with. Like, they've just got to try, the authorities, to not let them drag it out forever and a day. Because, as far as I'm concerned, it probably still won't be resolved by the end of next season. They still won't have had the punishment in a year's time, because the appeals and shit. It makes them look a bit powerless, a bit impotent, the footballing authorities, But it's the way also things are set up these days, isn't it? Appeal. You should do away with that crap, like, you know what I mean? You can do it once. You can do it once and then never again, and you make it bloody quick as well.
You would think, but I'm going to break this down for you. So, of these charges, 54 are for inaccurate financial reporting. 54 of them are for inaccurate financial reporting. 14 of them are for manager and player I think how you even say that word. Remuneration, I think it's pronunciated.
Remuneration.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. 14 are for those charges. 35 are for failure to cooperate. 5 are for UEFA FFP breaches, and 7 are for profitability and sustainability rule breaches. So PSR, 7 are for PSR, and 5 are for UEFA or for FFP. The hearings concluded in December of 2024. We are in March of 2026. it is frustrating to see. I'm going to say something I know it's going to sound wild, but I have to give a little bit of props to Nottingham Forest, who, for instance, have brought up a grievance to the Premier League about not about this case in particular, but about the case with the fact that they believe Chelsea was given very, very light charges as opposed to the charges that Forest and Leicester and Everton have had to take on for what they deem as being very equal, if not like, relevantly uh, relevant terms of what the breaches that they got charged or sanctioned for. I'm gonna say, do you believe this verdict will genuinely change football? Because I have something that we're going to get into a lot of this conversation. I have a lot of this broken down very, very specifically. I've read like about 15 different articles on this. I've done quite a bit of my research and I obviously have my own opinion. But do you believe this verdict has the possible impact to affect football history?
It does. It does, and it should, but it probably won't. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Manchester City have already done enough damage to football with what they've done. The damage
Mhm,
is done, and they have to be punished for it, or it's just
mhm,
like the most ridiculous thing ever. And I will find it hard to keep my interest in football as high as it is now if they don't get punished. It'd be a
mhm,
nail in the coffin for me, which would see me lose faith in football being fair and worth like investing so much of my bloody time in and my thought in if it's just not fair. Because what they've done, they've come in with all that money and winning the league title has been impossible for anybody else. You know what I mean? We done
mhm,
it
mhm,
twice. No one else has won it since Pep come in. We've done it twice, and Arteta might do it here, but they've just had a monopoly on the league because of what they've done, and it's really, really devalued and hurt our game. And then there's the crap that he brought in with the way he played as well. It's the cheating from his players, the crowding the ref, appealing for ridiculous decisions. I can't bear it. He brought that here and made it, and Arteta's sort of a bit of a student of this, and he's gone down that road as well of making every single thing, like,
yeah,
yeah. I mean, I liked him at first, Guardiola. I've gone on record loads of times just saying that when he first arrived, and his rivalry with Klopp, it was brilliant. The Premier League football was brilliant. Us versus them, nip and
mhm,
tuck. But
mhm,
like after I learned like the extent of their skullduggery and dishonesty, it's just like, you know what I mean? It was all built on
mhm,
a lie. It was a castle made
mhm,
out of sand.
mhm. Yeah, I was gonna say Eric Clapton. It's not Eric Clapton. I can't believe I'm going blank on who I was thinking of. Um, yeah. Castles made of sand is certainly that. I heard a take, and tell me in the chat if you how you feel about this take. When you see commercials, when you see um these episodes or these pieces that they've done on TNT or whatever channel or whatever football channels have done these pieces about some of Manchester City's great runs. The intellectual property I was being that I was hearing in an argument is too valuable to the Premier League to take that to jeopardize and stripping titles and taking away and punishing the team in that sense. To say that those years Manchester City's runs didn't count would be too financially crippling to the league to the point where Manchester City are just in essence too big to fail. does that sit well with you? Can you accept a league that knows a team cheated, knows a team allegedly cheated, and if they are proven guilty, that they can be able to have the integrity that you need for a league to be taken seriously?
For me, the league was, yes, just the integrity of the game. I mean, it's been on life support for years, the integrity of the game, for numerous reasons, like the amount of dishonesty and cheat, and like then at the highest level with FIFA and UEFA, people trousering money here, there, and everywhere. And then there's like the cheating of certain clubs layered on top of that. And if this goes
Mm,
unpunished, like I said, I'll find it hard to have as much faith and love in the game anymore, because, like, we all know it's bullshit what's happened here with City, and it's not sour grapes. And I don't want the titles, I just want them to be punished. They can keep their fake titles because no one's asked about them in lieu of what they've done to earn them. And I just want them punished, and punished severely. And I'm a bit sad for some of the City fans, the all right ones who used to follow them in like the third division and that, like when they went
mm,
down twice. Do you know what I mean? But like the ones who've jumped on board and that with it, and they talk a load of shit about, oh, it's not even that true that we've cheated. Yeah, it's bang. You've been caught bang to rights. One of the telling things is that, like, the FA or whoever it is doing the Premier League said they've obstructed us at every turn. Every
mm,
time we've turned to them for information about this business, they've obstructed us, like, and hindered
mhm,
us, tried to hold us up, or not come
mhm,
across with the information, and that's very telling. I mean, they are not the actions of an innocent club, are they?
mhm. But is it a sense that if they are, again, this is just under the possible uh, verdict of them being guilty. There could be also found innocent, and then we're having a whole different conversation. But if they were to be found guilty, um, and then be allowed to keep those titles, would that not make you, like, as in looking at, they've won trebles, they've won, they've gotten doubles, they've gotten all these different types of silverware in their closet. Would it not say to other teams, you can go nearly a decade of cheating and you will have barely any type of real punishment? Because if it meant, hypothetically, if someone were to say to you, "Hey, we'll give you, you can have 3 straight years of winning the titles by the act of you fudging the books or doing any of the alleged allegations that they've done to help you, propel our team further, advance our team further." What is the deterrent to say that teams won't do that? I don't think there is one.
There's that old saying, isn't it? The law is an art, and it is in the sense that people with enough money can get round it and always have been able to. But in this case,
Mm,
like, it's not just somebody doing it to gain a load of money. This is a sport, an entertainment that people love around the
mhm,
world. And
mhm,
they've done this, like, and we can't be having it, mate, just because they're rich, you know what I mean? And I'm not having that argument that it would be to the detriment of the Premier League if City were to be kicked out, to be relegated, given a 60-point thingy, and they were relegated. Mate, it's not to the detriment. It's just one club. There's loads of big clubs in the league, mate. They're all, and there has been. And they haven't even
mhm,
got that big fan base, have they? You know what I mean? They've got people in Manchester, a couple dotted here and there, a few in where the bloody money's from, but that's about it. With City, they've not got a big fan base, like, so they're not that big a deal. But
mm.
to be honest, like,
Do you think that so I'm gonna ask this question, and then I have my own recollection. But Do you think football fans underestimate what this means? Do you think football fans are out there kind of saying, "Oh, just like what you said, money rules everything around us," on some Wu-Tang, cream get the money, and it doesn't matter. Whatever happens, you know what? They'll get a slap on the wrist and the rich keep on getting richer. Do you think do you think football fans are underestimating what this means, what this judgment means, or do you think that people are really still have this in their radar as meaning being an important verdict?
Sorry, run that one by us again.
Okay, so do you think people are putting enough attention to this ruling? Do you think that because that's what they've done?
No, it's hardly been a news item at all for me, like, much to my chagrin. That, like, we just haven't heard that much about it, and it hasn't been in the news as much as it should be, considering the huge story it is. We hear, like, something every once in a bloody while, like, and it's just a little bit of information, and then we hear nothing for like, weeks, months on end.
But that's the thing about it, is that's what I'm trying to get. That's the question that I'm posing, is that do you think that I honestly think that they know most people will do, or not most people, but there are people that will take, if they've got a court case, for instance, they'll try to keep it going on for as long as possible so that it gets out of the headlines, so that people, the tension kind of wanes on it, and all of a sudden you get a verdict. But then, whereas when it was hot news, you had, let's say you had 50 million people watching, but now that it's kind of like a year and a half, 2 years later, unless you're staunchly that's your obsession, chances are that is no longer at its peak of attention. Therefore, the ruling can kind of slide by. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
500,000 documents, Lee. We're talking emails, we're talking sponsorship contracts, we're talking image rights, we're talking internal financial statements, we're talking correspondence between ownership groups. This is closer to a corporate fraud tribunal than it is a football disciplinary hearing. I don't understand why, and this is why it's very interesting. A lot of the things that they're talking about, whether it's false reporting and cooking the books and paying players or coaches under the table, allegedly, that is illegal. It's not only that it's against the Premier League rules. We're talking about England. We're talking about the country, actual laws, that if you had a business and you started paying people under the table or committing, in essence, some form of tax fraud, you would go to jail, or you would get you would get punished. It's wild that just because they're a institution of football, that this isn't being more properly looked at. I saw there's a finance expert named Kieran Maguire, and he estimated that that they should get at least from a 40 to 60 point deduction.
I can't see how it's any less than that. 60, to be honest. I can't see how it's any less than that, considering the points other teams have been deducted for, significantly less than Man City, a hell of a lot less than Man City. The thing with the media and it not being as big a story as it should have been all this time is that they don't want to admit that, about it, like, because it makes our football look like a crock of shit if it's on the telly all the time going on about it. So they just, like, don't bother reporting on it that much. And I can see the sense in that, because I don't want to think about it all the time when I'm watching footy. They fell off a bit now, but they're still there, aren't they? trying to get the title this season, like, and it's wrong. It's wrong, mate.
My point is this, because precedent doesn't cover this scale. Like he said 40, 60 points. I'm like, okay, cool. How did you came up with that number? I don't know. Because let's compare. Everton got a 6-point deduction. Forest got a 4-point deduction. That's for a single accounting period. For 1 year of them messing up, they got 6 points or 4 points.
What made me laugh is when UEFA backed down and reinstated them to the Champions League, they just give them a financial fine. I mean, giving Man City a financial fine, a man like Sheikh Mansour a financial fine, I mean, yeah, okay, that's really going to hurt them, isn't it? Like, I mean, his pockets are so deep. That just killed me, that they went to that. Okay, we can't do this to you, but we're going to fine you some money.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, but my point is like we're talking about 9 years of them being the charges stem over 9 years, and it's not for one single breach. We're talking about multiple breaches in those years, and for it to only equal up to 60 points is weird. I was thinking of it's like I don't know if does 60 points seem sufficient for you? I'm thinking maybe a different scenario. Maybe you go to the point of saying, we're going to charge you 30-point deduction. Now hear me out. For each of the 9 years that you did it. So for every year, you're going to have 30 points deducted from your you stay up, cool. If you don't, that's on you. But for each year that you're in the Premier League, it should be 1 year, 30 points, or I'll go as far low as 20 points if that's necessary. But 20 to 30 points, I think, would make a difference, because that could be the difference of them not making Champions League. That could be the difference of them being mid-table. It won't necessarily relegate them, but it could be
the idea that the two big to fail or be punished harshly is utter bullshit, and just more nonsensical, lamentable horseshit from the people who say these things. Like, no way would the Premier League, take such a big hit that it couldn't recover, because City is so massive. Bollocks to that, mate. Absolute nonsense.
Well, that's the argument. The argument is that that's what it is. The argument is that they're so big that City won't be able to, or the Premier League won't be able to recover having such a massive cash cow of Manchester City leaving the league. I think that's just hogwash.
Isn't it? Bold at that.
Yeah. Gene's saying you're just too nice, because if that was us, they would throw the book at us. No niceness. I got you, Gene. No one cares about Chelsea cheating, and it's just as bad as City, if you ask Lone Sheep. I know. Trust me. I don't think that Chelsea should. I should do a whole nother piece on Chelsea, to be honest with you, because I think what happened with Chelsea is a farce. They got off so easily, but then again, I think the reason why they got off the way that they did, or got off lightly, was because they self-reported on themselves. Now, big up versus just scored a beauty. Nice. I heard Cody's playing well too in this game. I don't have those games on in the background, but if you guys want to give us updates, we're always open to it.
Good news anyway. Good news for Birch to get himself what sounds like a good goal. That'll give him some, whatever confidence. Give him a bit of a lift, eh?
I'll ask you this. Yeah. They should give them a lift. You're right about that. I hope that it gives all of our international players a lift to come back motivated and focused more. I was going to ask you this because this is the emotional core of it. A lot of us, I know some people are on the fence, some people are very much so, and others are no, I don't care. But let's talk about 2018, 2019. That was a year we have 97 points, meaning our Liverpool. We had one loss that year under our beloved Jurgen Klopp. We finished second place. 2021, 2022, we had 92 points. We lost by 1 point on the final day. If City are stripped, should those titles go to Liverpool?
For me, I'm not bothered if it happens. Like, I wouldn't be mad about it. It's just like it's not the chief concern for me. The chief concern is to punish these cheating bar stewards to the full extent of the footballing authority's power. But yeah, if they gave us them, it'd be like, yeah. But United would be getting one as well. That's what I don't like the idea that much, mate.
I wonder why. Why are you saying no to 2021? I'm wondering why Sheep is saying no to 2021. You got to think that we did all that just to be cheated out of those titles. Those are the 2 years that are in question that we would get at least. Those are 2 of the years that are in the 9-year span that we would get it.
Basically, what happened is the moment they walked in the door, like they had it in mind to do that, and then they went ahead and did it, and then the club sort of leveled out, like, and was at in a position where they didn't have to do that anymore. But that's how they got it up and running in such quick time, and became a threat quickly, because the books were cooked. I mean, they weren't just cooked, were they? Like, I mean, there's nothing left of them. They were cooked that badly. Like, there's nothing left of them. Like, they dissolved.
I think sometimes too, when you look at it, I understand that it is a 9-year period, and some might fall outside of the 9-year range, but I still think that it's like hypothetical. I'm gonna give you an analogy, Lee, and I'll give the chat an obvious understanding of why I think it is what it is. Imagine if there was I don't know, we'll go Scarface, okay? Now Scarface, the movie, right? He was able to build up an incredible empire. He bought cars, he bought mansions, he had so much money, right? And he even bought some legitimate businesses as well. He gets caught cheating, or he gets thrown in jail. Do you think that when he comes out of jail, he should still have those businesses, that he should still have those cars and those mansions? Or do you think that all those things should be taken away from him because he got it on ill-gotten gains? I get that some of these might fall out of the parameters of when they were cheating. But if you don't properly punish a team, then they will have benefited from the fact that they were able to cheat for those 9 years.
Yeah. See, look, the stuff that was won after the financial chicanery ended, that's irrelevant, mate, because the fact that it happened enabled them to go on then. You know what I mean? So that's irrelevant, really, that like the cheating had stopped by that time. The fact that it was done in the first place to get you to where you were is the issue, which renders the rest of it like irrelevant in my point of view. I don't know what you think, but that's the way I feel about it.
No, I agree. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. Jimi Hendrix was who I was thinking of earlier. He sang the song Sand Castles. Castles made on sand. I think it was or something was.
Yeah. I love a bit of Hendrix. Yeah, always love Hendrix. Still Raining, Still Dreaming is my favourite song off Electric Ladyland. The guitar.
Okay, all right. Before we get into Lee playing guitar and using his wah wah pedal, um, um, seriously though, what do you do if you don't strip the titles? Okay, but what do you do? I know some City fans will say we experienced it; it happened. That's all very true. You can't take away the fact that in their mind, they won the titles.
As I say, I'm a bit ambiguous on this. Like, I don't really care that much that the titles are stripped from them and taken away from them and given to the second place teams. What I care about is that they're relegated or given at the very least a 60-point deduction, which will then relegate them.
So
That's all massive
so
to me.
you're good.
You
No,
can have them, you know, and it'll
granted,
be something for their fans to look back on and say, "Yeah, remember that time?" You know, like, but they'll know in their heart of hearts it was, you know, it was all fake.
it's
Yeah.
why I think that my suggestion. This is only my suggestion, but I think that if you were to give them a fine of maybe even dropping a transfer fine as well somehow some way when they are in the Premier League, but if you were to go and say to them, you're going to have for 9 years, you will have a 25, let's not even say 30, let's say 25-point deduction. And for 9 years straight, you'll have, so every year you'll start, everyone else will start at 0 and you'll start at minus 25. That could be major. That could be very much major. And that's why, them getting, I don't know, what, 85 points has them now at a 60 point, them at 60 points, far outside the top 4, most likely. And, and certainly not getting Champions League, probably out of Europe. So it would almost be 9 years of them most likely not getting into Europe and still having to carry that, scarlet letter on their jersey. Or is that what we do? Do we give them do we make them have a scarlet letter if they get you know?
But really, after they've been punished, it's going to be like a long road back for them. But that's what they deserve.
Everyone's just saying, basically everyone's just saying, just relegate them in the chat. Just relegate it.
Well, look, it's a division they're familiar with anyway. Championship, like, and the one below that. So, it'll be like old times for some of their fans if they're in the championship. But a bit more down at their level.
I'm getting why I say that if they were that do you realize what the impact of their alleged cheating has done not only to our title efforts, but also to the fact that they were able to get Champions League, for instance, and that meant that I don't know whoever turned out to be in 5th place that year didn't. There can be certainly some type of plea by, if they're found guilty, by other teams to say, hey, I want compensation because I got relegated that season. And if Manchester City didn't if they had some relation to them getting relegated, then it could be serious. Or maybe they didn't get Europe because of Manchester City. Like, do you have? I'm gonna ask a separate question before we even go down that route. Do you have any sympathy to their fan base?
Yeah, the genuine City fans. There's one who's all right. I can't remember what his bloody streaming's called, but I would go on it occasionally a few seasons ago when us and them was still in direct competition all the time, like, and we're neck and neck. And there's one who's all right. I can't remember his bloody name. Some of them are all right, like, some of them are full of crap, though. Some of them are full of crap. And they're just in full on denial mode about what's gone on.
I just there's a good point that Trudon and Sheep and they're bringing up. What would happen if I guess it's because it's the Premier League and it's not the FA. It's not the FA. So the FA would have to take actions for those cup competitions. The Premier League doesn't have any say over the FA Cup or the League Cup. It would have to be up to them to decide what they would want to do, I think, when it comes to those situations. It's a wild situation. So you do some of these. I ask because, like, when you bring up this, there are some Manchester City fans, and rightfully so. I get it. Like, as in, you are innocent until proven guilty, and most of them feel as though they've been obviously aggrieved and judged before the ruling. But most of them do openly admit, or a good number of them do openly admit that it looks bad. And some say, "Oh, well, if we're found guilty, then I'll just hold my hands up and have to take it." But if that's the case, it's just weird. Some of them act as though they don't care. They've already gotten their, was it like six pieces of silver or whatever,
Yeah,
what is it?
6 pieces of silver. They've already got them, haven't they? And more than that.
Right. Yeah. 450 points. There you go. See what I mean? There you go. Yeah. Oh, wow. It would be something of a sense of where and what you feel is being, if you were the judge, what would be your ruling? What would be, not your ruling, what would be your punishment if found guilty? And if anything, what would be their compensation if they're found innocent? I'll give them that too. What happens if all of this ends up being, if found guilty, it's one thing. But what if they're found innocent? With 500,000 pieces of evidence, and they can't be found innocent for everything. Some of these things they're definitely guilty of. And what I mean by definitely is that they haven't been forthright with the information. They've been stalling. They've been doing this and doing that.
Obstructed them at every turn, with the words I hear about the way City have behaved in regard to this matter. That, like, they've just been very obstinate, like, and uncooperative, shall we say, with the footballing authorities at every turn. That speaks for itself. As I said before, they're not the actions of an innocent club. If you've done nothing wrong, when you're asked for information, in this day and age, it should be there within bloody hours. Do you know what I mean? Come on now. Come on.
Well, what is so relegation, points deduction, transfer ban? what is it that you do? What is it that you would want to, that you would feel is fitting if the
I'm not
Premier League?
asked about all the rest, transfer ban, yada, yada, yada. I'm just asked about points, solid, deductible points, and at the very least 60 of them. Because what other teams have been done for breaking the rules once, and then they're innumerable rule breaking. Do you know what I mean? Just like it's got to be a figure above 50. It's got to be a figure above 50, surely. If there's any,
Mhm.
any justice.
Okay, because there are some. I mean, they are saying this is an exclusive that was just brought out. It was saying Manchester City insiders privately believe that the 115 charges verdict has been delayed due to potential consequences costing the Premier League 2.5 billion pounds instantly. The theory is that City holds a kill switch. If City gets kicked out, stars like Holland and and Guardiola leave. Without them, TV channels allegedly have the right to cancel their contracts. This would instantly cost the Premier League 2.5 billion. Therefore, they will not leave. That's where we're at.
It's just how bad it looks for the game. I mean, we've known about the Italian game for years, and certain things within the Spanish game also, like with Barca being done. But to have it here, you know what I mean. We always did have a bit more of a sense of fair play than the Latin sort of European countries like Italy and Spain. They was prepared to go to greater levels on the pitch and behind the scenes to get the trophy. But yeah, to have it here, it's just a bad look. I mean, you look at Paris Saint-Germain, don't you? They've totally destroyed the French league with their
Uh,
dominance. And City
uh,
have destroyed the Premier League in the sense that no other bastard's been able to win it since Guardiola come in, apart from us twice. Everybody else, no chance. Arteta might get it this year, but it has been a monopoly for them on the league. It's not just they won 4 in a row. They won, was it like 6 and 7 years, 6 and 8 years or some shit, is it? And it's too many. It's too many, and we know why. Because I mean, they were spending big transfer fees dead early. The moment they come in, it was like, what? So taking Arsenal's players off them, their best players, and that, players from the best players from abroad, like and that were on the market. It started instantly.
I look again. My solution is 25, 20 less. I know I keep reducing it a little bit. I'm trying to make it a little bit more palatable. But a 20, 25 point per season for 5 years, deduction. I would say a multi-season transfer restriction. I'd say automatically you'd have to restructure the board, Manchester City's board. Everyone that was any board member that was present during those years of fraud, of alleged fraud, would have to be banned from Premier League and also obviously kicked out of Manchester City. And I think why is because 1 year of pain, even if it was them getting relegated to excuse me, that would be pain. Getting relegated to the Championship League would be that'd be great if we could relegate them to French League. But
should be called League now because it's like
yeah.
you know what I mean? It used to be a good league. Now it's
Yeah.
League.
But there's no guarantee that the championship has to, has to take them. There's no guarantee that League Two has to take them. Uh, but I think that it would be very, very interesting if that was their penalty. I just think that their penalty would hurt them more if all those things, the transfer ban, the the board restructuring, the multiple years, 5 years of point deductions, and then even putting a fat asterisk next to their title wins during that, so that every time you look it up in the history books, it has an asterisk telling you that this title is fraudulent. They won it, but it is fraudulent. Peter's saying, don't forget the political fallout. UAE wouldn't see any punishment as a personal affront between states. Yeah, I know. The political.
They've always got a cob on. It's right on the Strait of Hormuz, incidentally, and like where the struggle is at the moment. But for a few decades, it was a British protectorate because the shipping was important in them days. Yeah, and they don't like the English because of that.
Well, the question is when the verdict is coming. That's the big question. This report that I just saw, it was today actually, from Top Skills Sports UK. They confirmed that Manchester City faced a shocking 60-point deduction after 115 breaches of financial fair play. The official announcement of this bombshell punishment is set to drop before the end of the season. The devastating sanction would send the reigning champions crashing to the bottom of the Premier League table and condemn them to relegation. I don't want to see them get. It sounds horrible, but I'd rather see them get this point deduction next year. Is that what it said? I just realized that I did it.
You just need to hurry it
It
up.
does say in the article.
And
I just noticed that shirt on.
like
I just
it
noticed
isn't
that does say reigning champions. Yeah, I just noticed that. We're the reigning champions, but I was just reading the article.
We're all aware, aren't we, of the tactics they used on UEFA when UEFA banned them from the Champions League, and we all know what happened there. It's what happened. It's what's happening now, but to an even greater extent. It was Der Spiegel, wasn't it, that uncovered it? So shout out to Der Spiegel. That was a great scoop from them to get the info on City's skullduggery and dishonesty. But yeah, the way UEFA backed down was very telling. But we can't do that. If we do that as well, it's more or less game over. The game will still go on, but it will have no integrity whatsoever, and it has virtually none now anyway, because of the things that have happened over the years. So the last shred of integrity that there is, the last slither, the last thread, will disappear.
By the way, I know that some of you are saying that that this can go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, or CAS.
Oh, that's where it mate, CAS, yeah, and they take forever. This CAS bloke is he takes age.
However, this case cannot. This is different than the UEFA case. The UEFA case did go to CAS. That they got the verdict. They got the 2-year ban from Champions League, and then they appealed and went to CAS. This particular case cannot go to CAS. So,
well, Cassandra of Troy foretold the destruction of Troy. I was ignored and told to shut up.
Right. No. This one's under the rules of the Association of the Premier League. The process for this case is governed by an independent commission. It's like 3 bigwig judges in England, and a subsequent appeals panel would be the next stage, rather than going through CAS, which is set up because like CAS is a fraudulent. They're pretty fraudulent when it comes to the way that they're structured. It's CAS is like, in CAS, for instance, when the UEFA judgment went to CAS, UEFA's lawyers got to pick one judge. City got to pick the other judge, and then the third judge, UEFA didn't pick him. City picked the third judge, and UEFA said, "Fine, we don't care. You can have it."
That's stupid. Oh, mate, England just got like a porky goal. Good corner from Cole Palmer, comes across, gets a touch. Keeper. England winning anyway. They are at home. It took them ages to make the breakthrough. 80 minutes gone. Like, I'm only watching it in the background because it's on ITV, and I get to watch some free footy on my telly for once. No subscription required.
I just think it's going to be scary because the tribunal ended obviously in December 2024. Like I said, there's 3 senior legal figures behind this. The 3 senior legal judges that are connected to the judgment. The deliberation, obviously is ongoing in some way as well, still to this point. But the Premier League and City reportedly are only going to get 24 hours notice before they publicize the verdict. That could be very chaotic. I think if it drops in the summer, it's still a earthquake, seismic style verdict. But I think that it could be very important, because this could alter, obviously, Champions League places. It could rewrite the title history. It could force board resignations. It could trigger appeals. It's going to be big news once the verdict gets dropped. And I think that I know that you said that you hold them unaccountable, or you don't hold the City fans. You don't hold the City fans accountable to these actions. I get it.
You know what? In that way, like, because they had suffered as a club for so long. I mean, they were a reasonable sized club. They had won the league and that. Long time, 1970s, some shit, 69, 70. That's roughly the last one. But and I remember in the FA Cup final once when I was a little boy against Spurs. I believe they lost, but and the captain was a scouser from Kirby, Tommy Caton. But Man City, you didn't associate them with winning anything, and they were often relegated and then came back up. So to come from that, what they were, to that must have been a great ride for their fans, and I hope they enjoyed it. But now they will have to hopefully, deal with the wrongdoing, because and it's a bit unfair on them. It's been done to them. They got swizzed too. They didn't know, did they? Like, when they come in, and a lot of them talk shit and that. But you can't judge your fan base by what a couple of them say or a handful of them say. Some of them talk shit about it and come up with the most ludicrous false equivalencies, like, I remember that. No, mate, it's nowhere near being the same thing. Please don't embarrass yourself again. But they've been taken for a ride too. We all have.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Big up Adam. Big up to M. Tarmizi. Big up Red Armchair Supporter, obviously. Jean Grey in the house. Lee Wizkid. Lone Sheep. Trudon. You Never Walk Alone 73. Big up. They did that. This is true. They allegedly created fake companies to sponsor themselves. They should be in court, not just charged by the Premier League. I agree with that completely, by the way. You'll Never Walk Alone 73. That's what I was saying about this goes further than just football. Big up to Peter. Who else was in the chat? Did I say be up to Lee Wizkid, Red Armchair supporter. I think I said that. Dustin, I saw the legend that is Dustin. Big up, big up. I don't know if you saw my private chat, Lee, but is that okay? Good with that? Yes, no, maybe so. Maybe not. Maybe not. All right. Well, I think that it just comes down to this is only going to be an hour session today because this is TGIF. You guys are watching some good football. Hopefully, it's you guys have a fantastic weekend. But let me end this clearly by saying Manchester City are innocent until proven guilty. But if found guilty of the serious financial charges, I think sporting integrity demands the appropriate punishment. I get history may need correcting. I get that the Premier League will take a hit when it comes to their purses, but football must protect its credibility, plain and simple. This is bigger than rivalry. This is bigger than Liverpool. This is bigger than City. This is bigger than a lot of the things that people are going to try to, belittle this to. This is about whether elite football policies. If this is about whether elite football is going to police itself, or if it is going to be held accountable and have to play by the same rules as we all do. I don't know what message this would send if they are found guilty for them to get a slap on the wrist. And if they're found innocent, then that will be a whole nother conversation.
Look, I've said this before, but the report, it didn't go into specifics and give you, a mental image of what went down, but it said they didn't really try to cover their tracks very hard, almost as if they were like, so what, you know what I mean? They didn't do a good job of covering their tracks. And it seemed that they did it in a way that was just so what? To the FA and that when they look at it, they should think, because they are raising the finger to them, and they are with all the stalling and the appeals and that, so they should have a right, they should be annoyed with them, with the owners, with the club, the way the people there behaved and that. And at the end of the day, they're the footballing authorities. City is just a football club. It's very different things. They can do what they can do what they want to. They don't care who the owners are, how rich they are. It doesn't matter. They don't live here, mate. They live on the other side of the world. The footballing authorities can, if they choose, do what they want to Man City, and I hope they do.
Yep. Yep. It is something that we'll have to figure out. It's something that we need to figure out, not something that we need to see. But I don't know if we need to see it. I'm just being honest with you. I don't know if we need to see this immediately. I think now that we've waited as long as we have, I'm saying let this season play out, and in the summertime, properly drop the hammer, whether innocent or guilty. Drop a hammer. But people, we only can give you an hour today because I do have a concert tonight that I have to attend. Tend to. But Lee, did you want to go?
When we finish 12, then
Yeah. No, I'll stick around for. I'll stick around. In the office for a second. But I was going to say, did you want to say peace out to the people before we let them do their thing?
Peace out to our people, and war, destruction and famine to Manchester City. No peace for them, no peace for the wicked. They are the wicked, and I wish nothing but destruction upon them.
Hey, I was going to say war. What is it good for? Absolutely.
Yeah. In the sense of the football authorities, like, having, more power than them, like, show them the error of their ways.
There you go. There you go. Big up, big up. It's my concert. It's my show. So, not me performing, but I'm bringing the artist out. So, but all the same, people. What I was going to say is, I hope that everyone has a fantastic weekend. I hope that I do ask you to do this, please. Tomorrow, if you have the ability to, um, definitely give a donation or some type of charitable donation to the foundation for the really really incredible game that they'll be having with the Liverpool legends and the Dortmund legends. There's going to be a fantastic atmosphere. Obviously, the foundation is an incredible cause, and even if you don't have the means to donate, then still all the same, support by watching, keeping their numbers up, or just show the love that you can for our Reds, our former legends, or not former legends, our former Reds that are now legends, eternal legends in every right. And that's all I would ask. So I hope that everyone has a great weekend. And until tomorrow, because I'll have an episode tomorrow. Maybe we can even watch that game live. Maybe we can do it. Maybe I'm gonna work it out. Maybe we can do a watch along or something like that to help push the foundation. But I will say, up the Reds each and every time, and we will see you tomorrow. Take care, guys.